Hello, it's Laura Ward, and I am going to do a morning foam roller workout. Not really a workout, a work-in. So, my theory with the foam roller is that if it feels good to you, it's probably good for you. And the other thing is, if you're moving slowly, it's going to have a bigger effect on the fascia. So, slow movement, I can feel my back adjusting, is much more effective in changing the internal structure of the tissue. So like the fascia, let's say it's like this, it's all meshed together, and when you roll, it gives it a chance to spread a little bit and move. Think of like a very three-dimensional weaving of a sweater. And then imagine that that has infinite possibilities of how it connects inside. That's something like what your fascia looks like. It's a little too loud. So, I'm going to take off my sweater, So I'm just starting with up and down in my back. Trying to let the front of my body really open up. Big breathing, and I'm also really internally focusing on the space between my shoulder blades, so I can feel my scapula and my shoulder blades moving around. And I want the muscle tissue and the fascia underneath my scapula and on the outside of my scapula and my shoulder blade all to have a moving relationship, so nothing's gummed up and stuck together. So that's what I'm working on. As well as opening up my chest and lungs. When I get in here, since I picked myself up off the floor, I can get a little bit more into this upper track. And now I'm just adding a little bit of side-side movement. And I'm kind of doing a dance with the roller. So you want to think of the roller almost like your partner. You're wrapping your body around it, and it's moving into the spaces that you are allowing it into. Getting a little bit under my shoulder blade into that armpit area, so it's going to be lat, subscapularis, serratus anterior. Just the idea that those things are moving around. Those things are getting a little more hydration. So movement hydrates the tissue. Oh, this song, fantastic Anthony Sanseri song, has just come to an end almost. And it could be something totally different afterwards. So you can see what I'm doing on this side. I have a lot of sensation under here. Some might say it's very painful, but if you start to change the idea of pain into sensation, you can have a slightly different relationship with it. So it's not something to be so scared of, but more something to work with and use as a tool to find changes in your body and to track changes in your body, and also to take your awareness deeper into your body. So I'm going to shift this so it's up and down my spine. Oh, it's more Anthony. And I'm just going to roll a little bit from side to side. And as I'm rolling, I'm thinking of the side. This side now is getting more space between the scapula and the arm, and on this side. And the pattern in my spine is a little bit like a lizard or a fish. I'm getting this C curve, maybe an S curve sometimes in my spine. Feels really good. And I'm letting my arms go in opposition. So if I just roll like this and I don't move my body, if I stay more passive, it will have one effect. But if I'm also moving my body underneath, it's going to have a more profound effect. And you don't have to do exactly what I'm doing. You can make it work for you, however it feels good in your body. Now I'm going to work a little bit more into my hips. I do dance a lot of ballet, so I work a lot of external rotation, which gets very tight. Hips and piriformis, glutes, all the rotators. So just getting into there and I'm listening into the muscle to see when it's ready to move. And then I can also just move my body, so I'm not really rolling. I'm getting a little bit more shear on the muscle. So it's not just rolling through, but this is holding still and I'm moving myself. So in a weird way, the roller is hooking my skin and I can move my body inside of that as opposed to just rolling through the tissue. So that's when I go like this. See, the roller's not rolling, it's me moving on. If you work with a foam roller that's a half roller, you can get more shear, which is also important for the fascia. Not just rolling, but also shear. Getting out to the other side. I find if I do this hook over, I get more. We're about to rock out. Switch it. So I'm going to turn it this way. And I'm going to drop down. And I'm going to roll through the tissue and spiral my spine a little bit. So I'm rolling actually through the same area, but differently. This music is super alert and awakening, so I'm trying to stay in the lower half of the music, or in the more calming instead of the really exciting part. So this was all pretty basic foam rolling. I'm going to get more into my hamstrings. Not that much, just trying to move them around a little bit because my shoulders are on the floor. And then into my calves. So I'm going to do something different with my calves. I'm going to do a thing called the theta breath, which is like a soft TH sound or a soft hissing sound with your tongue just behind your teeth, like this, or kind of like you have a lisp. And the theta breath comes from Emily Conrad's continuum movement, and it's a sort of sound that will regulate the breath, but also give sort of a bifurcating pattern, so it's moving through tissue, like it's creating a vibratory pattern on a very subtle level that's moving through the tissue in your body and the space around you. And I'm going to find an exploratory pattern with, I think I'll probably just do one foot at a time, but I'm moving my foot just to get more into the muscles in my calf and the connective tissue and the whole of my calf. So muscles, fascia, everything in there working together. So here we go with my right. And then I'm going to move the foam roller around as necessary. So starting here, just going with the theta breath. little bit like a heater letting off steam. So I'm going fairly quickly through this in the interest of staying within a short time span on this video. I could spend half an hour on each leg, but I'm going to switch to the other one. Actually, I worked through my calves a little bit yesterday also. And this could take place way down on your Achilles, close to your heel, or up here. Preferably, you're going to take the time to move through the whole thing. Also, I'm tuning into and sensing into a real sense of freedom in this hip socket, ball and socket joint up here. And without the theta breath, you can see what I'm doing with my foot. So that's moving the muscles inside my calf around in different ways. And then with the roller on the outside, I'm getting this very, very three-dimensional shaping and movement within the calf and within the whole foot and leg, all the way up to my hip and even into my pelvis. I can feel all of that going on. And we are a wholeness pattern. We are one body. So as I'm releasing stuff down there, especially within the fascia, it's going to have an effect